Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. We've got plenty of ground to cover down south in Tamil Nadu to what's happening over in Australia, but more importantly, closer, how the Chinese are getting really edgy about this entire treatment of Uyghurs in East Turkestan. That's what we'll start with, ladies and gentlemen. Big news coming through. It's a CNN News 18 mega exclusive here on The Right Stand. On this Right Stand exclusive, after Uyghur Chinese crackdown on the Kazakh journalist and activist, Kazakh journalist Zum Atay was arrested by China police for installing Instagram and other social media apps. Now, according to sources, these apps are not banned in Kazakhstan, and she forgot to uninstall this while she was visiting China. The Chinese authorities and the police in their detention reports have said that she was traveling to some restricted areas. In other allegations, she was in touch with some Kazakh activists for anti-China activities. Now she is being released, but China authorities are also not allowing her to go back to Kazakhstan. Sources say that she was actively championing the cause of Uyghurs and the treatment of the PLA and CCP of Uyghurs in East Turkestan, or what China calls the Xinjiang province or new territory. Xinjiang means new territory. China has been doing this as Kazakhstan's also harboring, sheltering and also offering asylum to a large number of Uyghurs in their country. Sources also say that China wants to complete the crackdown on all Central Asian nations because of their pro-Uyghur support. Sources say that Chinese concentration camps verified mainly by the residents of these Central Asian nations, and even ISIS is upset with China on the Uyghur issue and has repeatedly tried to mount attacks. 2 attacks already aimed at the officials, one of them going awry. Abdul Hakim Idris, who's the Executive Director, Center for Uyghur Studies and also an author, is with us. Abdul Hakim ji, namaste. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, this is the latest in a slew of crackdowns by the Chinese, not just on their soil, in East Turkestan, but also across the globe, where they have targeted individuals who have tried to raise the Uyghur issue. Now, in this case, it's the story of a Kazakh journalist.
Yes, unfortunately, this side of the story never covered by the media. I'm glad the news, CNN News 18 covering this story, because we are just talking about the more than 3 million Uyghur and Kazakh and the other ethnic Muslims are in the concentration camps and in detentions, but never we talked about their wealth, their poverty, what's happened their land. You know, when the communist government started this active genocides more than 6 years ago, they first seized the land from the owners, their poverties, their housing, even their monies, and ask them, you know, if you are ready to claim your poverty, go ahead. If somebody, you know, I am from a city of Khotan. It's not too far from New Delhi.
Yes.
It's the southern part of the East Turkestan, where the jade trade is so famous. The people get a lot of money building, housing. And when the crackdown began there, everybody lose their money in bank accounts and their housing and their land.
Right.
And this is a typical example from Janargul Zumratay, who visited East Turkestan and had interviews and the Kazakh nomad population in the northern part of the East Turkestan, where they are located, and what it's happened to her. So China is not waging war on the Islamic faith and the detention of the Uyghurs and the Kazakh in East Turkestan, but they are coming out of the journalists who are speaking in favor of those voiceless people.
Right. The other part, Mr. Abdul Hakim, is the fact that anybody and everybody who's a tourist in China would have these apps installed on their phone. So if tomorrow you and me were to go into China, I know for you it will be difficult because you are an activist and you'd be on their radar, but anybody who goes, they would have their phone which they have carried from their country of origin, and they would have all those apps. So are they going to put everybody behind bars? So then no tourists will go to China. And these apps don't function. So this entire Instagram, she was using Instagram there, seems to be a very specious and a very shallow kind of an allegation. It's just that they needed some grounds or the other to hold her back. and now they are not even allowing her to go back to Kazakhstan.
Yes, as is known by Chinese to build a wall, they already built a digital wall around China, especially around East Turkestan. You cannot move without any surveillance in there.
Right.
You cannot go in your apartment with a scanning code in your apartment. Even in your apartment, some TV has some function. They monitoring your with the video and the voice.
Right.
And plus, if you use smartphones, there is an app required by the government.
Yes.
You have to install that app to be able to live their normal life, with the transaction money or banking or anything else. And you are 24 hours 7 under surveillance. Even there is a face recognitions in these apps.
Yes.
You don't need, you don't need say something, write something, but if your face is a little bit angry, if some circumstances, it means there is a red flag.
Right.
You will be, called by police on detention and questioned eventually throughout in the concentration camps.
Right. No, true, Mr. Abdul Hakim. Thank you very much for your time. It's clearly a cause for concern, and this also exposes China's stand and its entire paranoia, because you are not going to be afraid and you are not going to try and shield something unless you're doing something wrong when you got something to hide. We've put the story out there, and we just hope that this Kazakh journalist gets justice and is able to return to her motherland, to her nation, country of origin, and from where she belongs to. The Chinese don't keep holding her back. This should be raised internationally too.